This Saturday, September 23rd, we'll see the return to the ring of Conor Benn. However, it's unclear how he's been cleared to fight due to a positive drug testing and a suspension. Let's talk about what's going on and why Ben is fighting.
Conor Benn, rumoured to be returning this weekend on a matchroom card in Florida. Hasn't fought since April 2022. That was against Van Heerden. That's such a long time ago. I remember that fight ages ago. Obviously, there was supposed to be this massive fight against Chris Eubank Jr. I think there will still be another massive fight against Chris Eubank Jr. But let's focus on him returning on the weekend. We're doing this on Tuesday, recording this on Tuesday. If he's going to fight on the weekend, it needs to be announced now, no? Or it's just going to be a case of he just walks to the ring on Saturday without any press about it.
Well, it's called long grassing it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what it's called.
They don't want to make a lot of fanfare about it because, he'll be, I imagine, on the undercard, and it'll just be a 6-rounder or an 8-rounder. FAC, as we heard at the weekend, the Florida Athletic Commission had inverted commas no objections to Ben fighting in Orlando. As you say, it's on the undercard of Richardson Hitchens light welterweight fight against Jose Zepeda. And what they said was FAC had spoken to an outlet, I believe it was BBC Sport at the time, and they'd said the Florida Athletic Commission is in communication with the Matchroom Promotions Team, British Boxing Board of Control, and the Association of Boxing Commissions. The ABCs, obviously, that is the group that oversees the commissions in America. And if you know this, Addy, but a lot of people listening may not know this, that in America the commissions are part of local government as well, state government. They're not. They're not a non-statutory body like the Boxing Board of Control is a self-appointed body. They are government commissions within the jurisdiction of the local government. And FAC said that it had no objection to Conor Benn participating in a match in Florida on the 23rd of September 2023. So I think what's happened, if you read between the lines in that quote, they have had some consultation with the Boxing Board of Control, and it could be that the Boxing Board of Control have said, look, you can't have your licence in the UK, go and box over there, we're not going to have any objections to it. And maybe that's what they're ironing out at the moment.
And so begins the story that this Saturday, September 23rd, on the undercard of Hitchens versus Zepeda, Matchroom Boxing will sneak Conor Benn back into the sport. He cannot box in the UK, which is where he resides, because he's been banned and suspended due to testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and there is litigation where he has yet to prove his innocence. But his promoter, Ed Hearn, and Matchroom have fought hard to try to get Ben to fight elsewhere outside of the UK, because at the end of the day, they are looking to put on a famous namesake fight in the future where they feel that they can rake in tremendous economic windfall. Now, the fact that Ben has yet to own up to anything is troubling within itself. But the fact that the promoter is looking to just take him offshore, and the Hitchens Zepeda promotion will be held in Florida. So, Ben, who has yet to face a true, rugged, tough, contending American fighter, is going to fight in obscurity, buried in a under 10 round schedule bout on the undercard of this fight. There's something wrong with that. And there's something wrong with the promoter. Where is the justice in the sport of boxing? Where is, as I often talk about in this sport, accountability? The corruption is running rampant. There is a reason for testing. Fighters sign up for it all the time. And there are people out here who have relations with how substances are designed. Some to the degree to beat the test that fighters test for before major fights. Corruption is at an all-time high in the sport of boxing. The accountability factor that I spoke of finds some of these athletes who have tested positive so vain that they are unwilling to acknowledge that something is wrong, that they've committed a wrongful act. No one has yet stepped up to the plate to say, I messed up, I'm wrong, I need help. And when promoters can choose who they'll go to bat for and who they will not, understand that other fighters like Conor Benn enjoy the luxuries of privilege. The son of a Hall of Fame fighter, Nigel Benn, is enjoying the support by Matchroom and Hearn. His record of 21-0 with 14 KOs is being held in esteem by his promoter, but you have to question everything that he has done up to this juncture. Everything. There are often things to consider when you look at him, his appearance, how he began his career as a relatively small welterweight, and the transitions that he has undergone. There is no doubt that Ben has enjoyed some assistance physically for him to be productive. His last few fights have indicated a change in what he brings in the ring. You can look at him physically and see a change. And it's not for the better. But this type of assistance can always be traced back to PEDs. There are fighters who work hard, there are fighters who develop, and then there are fighters who shortchange and exchange value and ethic for the immoral and criminal. When the dollars are there, the doping and cheating makes sense. And there are those who benefit from what they do when they do this. We have seen in the past the father of Ben, when he took on Chris Eubank Sr. And they had a rivalry that rivaled Ali Frazier in the US for those two middleweights and super middleweights in the UK. And so Chris Eubank Jr. had been on tab to face Conor in a legacy matchup. Though the two fighters are not in the same divisions, there is a tremendous gap between the fact that Eubank, who has fought as high as 168, and Ben, who campaigns at 147, an ultimate legacy matchup for generation's sake is what Matchroom was trying to make here. And the narrative sounds sweet. But something's wrong here. What is wrong has yet to really be revealed. But if you've been watching boxing, you can tell that there's something going on here. There have been rumors about Nigel Benn and his background and things that have happened. Many on the US side are unaware of, but people who are in the UK know of the stories, and so does Conor. So that's one of the reasons why you can understand that Hearn and Matchroom are going to bat for him. But where was anyone going to bat for Jarrell Miller, who happened to pop dirty a few years ago, just on the cusp of a big fight to challenge Anthony Joshua for then a unified heavyweight title? You don't see the same type of support for someone like Miller, who happens to be from New York. But Matchroom dropped him like a bad habit. But Ben, as we take a closer look, you can see that there is something different here. Totally different. And if you allow yourself to use your sensibility, the excuses have not been able to hold water. This is something that needs to be addressed. Fighters cheating in the sport of boxing with doping. Promoters hiding fighters in the sport of boxing who dope. Promoters, managers, and personalities for the sake of the sport hanging allegations of doping on clean fighters. It's all happening simultaneously, and no one is really talking about it. But here on this channel, we'll talk about it, because the allegations, when you look closer, where there's smoke, there's fire. You heard the men discussing the fact that Conor Benn should not be fighting. But you also heard them quote the fact that it's taking place off of UK soil is okay, but it's not. Fighters need to be held accountable. And if this is what they've chosen to do with their careers, they need to pay a price for it. Fighters who go in against those who cheat are at a tremendous disadvantage, because fighters put their lives on the line, and it is time for someone to stand up and take accountability. How good and great and pleasant it would be if Conor Benn just came clean. Oh, but that's something he's unfamiliar with, because when you pop dirty, the fingers are always pointing elsewhere, externally, never for one moment looking within to say, hey, I did something wrong here. So when will it end? It'll end the very first time that someone is honest. And right now, it's not in fashion to be honest in the sport of boxing. We're seeing too much of the lies, but not enough people going down for them. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. What are your thoughts on this and Ben performing this Saturday in Florida, though he's banned in the UK? Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.